All right. Welcome to the first Finance Committee meeting for this year. It's 7 o'clock Tuesday, January 14th, 2025.
Can you put your mic in a little closer?
Sure. We'll start by roll call. We'll start to the left. And Dan, if you...
Dan Urumian.
John Marion?
Joe Ponzetti.
Shelley Brooks.
Janet Gilmore.
We do have a quorum being present. I call this meeting to order. We do have two selectmen with us this evening, Mary Hoffman and Roger Hicks, and Bennett Flinner, their assistant, is also present. And of course, the crew for Saco River Television is here. We'll start with our agenda, and the second item on the agenda after roll call is approving the previous meeting, and the previous meeting was March 26, 2024. Do I have you all had a chance to review that, I hope?
Move to approve.
Anybody want to make a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? The motion for approving the minutes is passed. At this time, item number 3 on our agenda is the update from our select board. And I believe, Roger, you're going to be presenting this evening.
Alrighty, good evening, everyone. Okay, first item to update is the Salmon Falls siding. We had approved up to $50,000 on the last warrant to spend, and then the heat pumps decided to go. So we ended up using $5,000 of that $50,000 to get the heat pumps so that we could have heat at the library. Heading into that, we started doing and reviewing the windows, the siding, the roof, and we had one estimate was close to $98,000 to do all that work. But when I started reviewing it, the value of the building is $158,000. So in speaking with the fire chief, I asked him to look into, because once you start working on a building and get beyond 50% of the value of the building, you got to bring it up to code. So currently we are trying to find some more estimates to bring it down, but at $98,000 we'd have to bring it up to code, which would cost a lot more money. So the Buxton Hollis Historical Society called us, Nancy Ponzetti, and said that she was looking into trying to get a grant to write to help us with the repairs on the Salmon Falls Library. I haven't heard back from Nancy yet, but she had talked to the people at the state, and I guess it was $10 million so that towns could apply for it. And at the point, nobody had applied. So they are graciously going to write a grant and try and get the money to help us fix the Salmon Falls Library. So just to bring you up to speed on that.
Roger, can I just ask a couple of questions?
Yep.
Nancy Ponzetti is my wife,
Yep.
so I am kind of familiar with what you're talking about. And the state is introducing some new grant funds, and she is very capable, and she does a very good job of applying for grants. She is the president of the Buxton Hollis Historic Society. So I do believe that she is going to try her best to see if she can access those funds. She'll have to do it through the cooperation of the town because the town owns the building. But my question is, the 50% rule, as far as I know, That applies to the IEBC, which is the International Building Code for Renovation. And that doesn't apply to maintenance and repair.
Okay.
So maintenance and repair are not part of the scope. So I do believe we can go ahead with some of those items that need to be fixed, especially the roof. And I'm not really familiar with the siding or the windows, but can we do that in pieces, Roger? Can we do the roof? Can we send it out and spend some of those funds we have earmarked
Well,
for like the roof?
that's something that, if you have more information than I do, Joe, it's just that when we got into this building here
Yes.
and we had to do all the repairs, that's what I'm referring to.
Well, that
under
would-
what I had for
Sure.
knowledge.
No, I understand that. That would, the 50% rule does apply to the International Building Code for renovation. And then you also that's a grand scope of all the codes. But then also you get into the ADA issues, which you and I are very familiar with, which get triggered as well. But those types of things we could probably deal with if we got a grant. We can't deal with them through the funds of the town. But keeping the building from getting worse, from either water, mold, or whatever, what can we though do some of the maintenance repair? Because the maintenance repair does not fit into that equation with those two codes.
Mm.
So I don't know if we can or not, but maybe that's something we can talk about. We have the funds there, and certainly if the roof is needing repair, I think that would be a good place to start.
Okay,
A question.
Sure.
go ahead.
So, Article 15, I assume that we passed Article 15 last June.
Yes, we did.
Okay, can you tell me what Article 15 said? Basically, you don't have to read it verbatim. I just wondered what it allowed to happen.
Actually, I have the warrant right here, just in case you ask questions like that. It basically said that it's to replace siding in any incidentals at the Salmon Falls Library. And where the heating went, we figured that was an incidental that needed immediate attention. So we used the $5,000 out of the $50,000 to fix the heat.
So, what was appropriate in the article, 50,000?
$50,000.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on that one? Okay, Partners Bank review. As you know, I wrote the article on the general fund last year to secure, we basically called it the reserve account, where I transferred 1.75 out of the general fund into a secure account called the reserve account, where that's our rainy day emergency account. So by doing that, we ended up getting 4.75% interest on it. And since I started that in April, we've earned $58,585 in interest. So that money is now $1,808,585. So the interest is doing very well for us on transferring that and writing the general fund balance ordinance that we did. We do have some areas that we are going to need to carry forward money. I just had a list of that in front of me. Excuse me. We had the state mandate of the 1%. That's 1% starting. They still haven't figured out who's going to administer it, but we have to pay money into an account quarterly. I believe our first payment's going to be in April. But Diane has to enter all the information on employees into this program so that they can figure that out. That is one of them. Another one that we did was for the insurance. The insurance went up 9.9%.
I have a question.
So that's part of a carry forward. And then we
Roger,
had,
Don has a question for you.
On the 1% for the family leave, that what you're talking about?
yes,
So are the taxpayers paying the full 1% or are the employees paying half of it?
that's what we had talked about. The select board decided that the town would pay the 1%.
And so, and you can do that with your budget that you currently have?
Well, that would be a carry forward. Even under the mandate, we would have had to carry forward money to cover it because we hadn't anticipated that.
Right.
So I'm going to bring forward $15,000 to cover the first part of that.
So what are you estimating that it's going to be annually? Do you?
I've got to wait and finish all the budgets first, and then I can calculate that.
So is the first 15,000, is it a 1 quarter?
I believe we should, I'm hoping that'll take us to June,
Okay,
but I can answer that a little bit better,
okay,
Dawn, once we get further into the budget cycle here.
okay. Thank you, thank you.
There was another contract that we came up. The select board had been talking with Southern Maine Planning. We had been spending a lot of money with them. So we entered into a contract with them for a year contract. It goes the entire year. They will be working with the planning board, but we've contracted up to $25,000 between January 1st and December 31st. So there's money there that I'll carry forward. And when I do a carry forward, it's money left over from the prior year's budget that just lapses either into the general fund or the select board can bring it forward and carry it forward into the next fiscal year to cover costs. New municipal complex is coming along very well. I'm working with Mike Jenkins and satisfying all the paperwork that they need financially. It's a little different. We get a pay receipt and that gets signed. Actually, it's next week we sign the next one. And then it goes to rule development, and if rule development has any questions, then I clarify it or get supporting documents for the money that's spent. Anticipated revenues. Right now, we're doing very well. Out of the anticipated under the budget, I anticipated $3,361,800. Right now, at the half of the year, we are at 1.9 million of the anticipated revenues. So I think we're right on track for what we're expecting. And we have Brookfield abatements, which I was saying, the dam and the battery storage. We had the abatement filed by Brookfield. We ended up settling that one through our attorneys last fall, which was $98,000. And then the battery storage, apparently one of the prior appraisers told Brookfield that the battery storage was not Betty qualified, and then come to find out, yes, it is Betty qualified. So we're working with O'Donnell's and Associates. They're working with Brookfield so that we can settle that abatement too. And then he's going to apply with the state to try and get some of that money back under the Betty reimbursement. Okay, under new, whoop. And that's what I have for the updates from the select board for you.
Okay, well, you can go to new business. I guess we covered the pay increase, Medicare benefits, update 1%.
Correct.
So what I'd like to do is just review the process that we go through reviewing these budgets. Roger will, he'll introduce and review each item as it's put in, as it is on our agenda. And we will address the question that he presents. And after he clarifies what he is proposing, we can ask questions. And then after that is presented to us, I'll look for a motion, and then a second motion, and then we'll have a discussion as to whether or not we accept or reject it, or want to make modifications. So, sure, Mary.
We have a couple guests from the Hollis Center Library. Is there any way they could present theirs first? They can come up and introduce themselves.
Sure.
So that's number 8,
We
10.
can change that. That's not a problem. We can change that on
Thank you.
our schedule here. Roger, if you wouldn't mind going down to what we have labeled as E 810, Hollis Center Library.
Yeah, I've just got one more thing under new business.
Okay, go ahead.
The select board was reviewing the annual pay increase. We'd been monitoring and thought it was, the COLA was about 2.6, so we voted for a 3% increase for the salaried and hourly people. The other point that I wanted to make is minimum wage went up to $14.65, which went up 50 cents. So we have a few employees that boost has gone up.
Roger, how'd you come up with 3%? Is that fairly typical?
Last year, we gave them 4%, but in looking at the projections, cost of living, we believe to be about 2.6, so after a discussion, the select board went with 3%.
We have Don has a question.
Did you take into consideration the 1% you're gonna pay for them for that healthcare plan? So now you're looking at 4% instead of 1%, right? And the
Correct.
cost of $15,000 for the first 6 months, that's on $1,150,000 of payroll? Do we have $1,150,000 of payroll in 6 months?
I don't believe so.
Well, that's what 1%, the 15,000 would generate.
Yeah.
Because I think we got a little pushback about the 3%, but what we felt was if we did the 1%, that would be an additional benefit to them. And also, we pay 100% of their health insurance, which not many companies do. So we felt that, the 3% increase was enough. It was, when we looked at it, the COLA for Social Security was 2.5, and then the cost of living or whatever they do every month was 2.6, so that's why we did that.
So, but you're gonna increase, you're increasing it 3% and paying their 1% for the,
Yes,
so
sir.
it's 4% actually, when you come down to it.
And we usually range about 4%. I think last year we might have done 4% plus a quarter, because that brings people that are at lower salary up a little bit and sort of makes it more equitable between the people that we pay a lot more than people that we pay a lot less.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And how I derived that number is I went in and I talked to Diane and asked her what she recommended for the first 6 months. And That's the number she gave me.
Thank you.
All right.
Do you want to present the library, the Senate House Center Library, or do you want our guests to get up and speak first?
Okay, I'm gonna put my glasses up there. I think most of you know me and Angela. I'm Kathleen Kendrick,
And I'm Angela Mackey, I'm the treasurer.
and I'm the chairperson. We didn't really plan to speak, but we wanted to just attend in case you had any questions.
Okay.
I will just say that we are asking for an increase this year, but it's for a lot of the same reasons that what everybody else is doing with. We're also having to pay the 0.5% for the FMLA and salary increases, raises. You know, a big part of our budget goes to salary.
Would you mind just saying a little bit about how you benefit the community and what you do for the community?
That's what I wanted them to mention because
Oh,
I personally am very proud of the Hollis Center Public Library. They have a very interactive program with the community, and so maybe they can tell you a little bit about their children's programs and some of the programs they offer.
okay. When you were talking about grants, we've been fortunate. We just received a grant. This is our second one for a project we're doing in the basement. We haven't been able to meet down there for maybe 3 years, 4 years? I think,
least.
was it since the fire department had made a visit, and we need to bring it up to compliance. So we just received another grant from the Stephen King Foundation. We received one from the Rural Libraries Association. And that's going to make it so much better because we always think of programs or people ask for things that we just don't have enough space to meet, to have a large group. But what we do have, we have a book club that meets monthly. We have the active children's program, and we do have homeschoolers that come, I think, twice a month, learning library science. What am I forgetting, Angela?
We have the Story Walk,
Oh,
which
that's
we
true.
received a grant for.
We did get a grant for
and
that.
that's quite popular.
That is.
Summer reading program, which is very
So I like,
popular.
and yeah, and the grant we got for the Story Walk was thanks to our librarian who has many talents. He's a carpenter. Anyway, he built all that, and he actually, the Buxton Hollis Historical Society used it one time when they wanted to do that display at the fest. And what else? I don't know if you wanted to ask us some questions, things we are planning to do.
Well, I know I see a lot of activity there. I see a lot of cars
Yeah,
in your parking lot all the time. And
yeah.
I know that you have a tent up. I don't know what that does.
Oh,
outside
yes.
and-
Our librarian wrote a grant to get the money for that. He built that. It's like a little stage, and it's multi-purpose. They use it for a lot of things, for the kids' programs. And then usually by this time in the winter, but we don't have enough snow yet, but we do the snowman walk at night, and we have that all decorated like a little ice house. So the kids really like that. Let's see, what else did we do this year? We did a wreath making for people to come and do that. Janet, you participated, didn't you, this year? And yeah, it's a pretty lively, active place, and that's what we wanted. That's why we needed that space downstairs, because we want to do even more.
do you have, is there a membership?
There's no cost for membership.
Is there a membership, though?
You
In
could-
terms of like getting a library
I'm curious
card.
how many people you service.
Look and see. It's part
Oh,
of our
guess what?
report.
Yeah, did you put it in there?
Let's see if I can remember. I'm not gonna be able to pull the number out of the top of my head.
I believe a lot of people use your library. though.
Yeah,
They do.
it is pretty active.
So currently, our database lists 1,567 adults and 470 children, totaling 2,037 patrons. 78 new library cards were issued during the last fiscal year. So, I mean, every year we have around 80 people that come in and sign up for new library cards, patrons that we hadn't had previously, which is a significant number. I
Yeah.
mean, that's quite a few people. So, yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of people using the library, and
Okay, thank you. I don't have any questions. Anybody else in the committee have questions? All right, Roger, you want to present the budget?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this yours or mine?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take that.
As I said, looking at this over the research, they haven't had an increase over the last 4 years, 6 years.
6 years that we haven't asked for an increase. I think it's been 6 years since our last report.
Okay, so they've asked to increase their budget this year from $35,150 to $40,000.
Does anybody have any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the Hollis Center Library budget.
Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor of approving the budget for the Hollis Center Library? Say aye. Aye.
Who was the second? Dan?
We had a second. It was
I was the second.
Okay,
Janet
thank you,
seconded.
Janet.
All set, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, going back to the beginning, Roger, we can start with the administration budget.
Sorry, let's put the budgets in half here. So as you all know, that we voted to go with the 5 select board members and the town manager. So it basically, last year's budget was 175,672. The request this year is 195,164. The difference being, if you go to the wages, the manager, we put the top at 90,000. Underline 20, that changes, that goes to 47,814. That's the secretary and the 5 select board members. With the new manager, basically, those are the major ones. The remainder of the budget remains the same.
I have one question, and the manager kind of evens itself out with the deduct in the wages for the select board. But the one that I have a question about is the audit number,
Yeah.
which increased about almost double to 20,000 from 11,000.
Correct.
What
And
was
I've been
the-
trying to get hold of the auditor to get a firm number on that, but last year he told me that it was going to be between 18 and 19,000. And where I couldn't get a hold of him and verify that number, I went with 20,000 just for this point. If I need to bring it back after I get a hold of him, I can do that and update that number. Just to be on the sure side of the audit, the making of the books, that we have enough money to cover it.
I had a couple questions, but do I need to make a motion
No,
first? Or?
the way we'll do this is we'll let the presentation
Yep.
go, and I think we should ask our questions and
Okay.
clarify what is being presented, and then we can do a motion. to
Okay.
accept or reject.
All
Go ahead.
So if you notice the year earlier, 23, 24, we spent 19,000 on the audit.
Shelley, you want to go ahead with your question?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask about the 19,000.
That's
And
what, that's
did
your,
that number come in maybe before we prepared our budget? And so,
that's last year's. That's what your actual expenditure is.
right, but we only budgeted
94.
94. So, did we not know that last year was gonna be 19,000 before we budgeted for this? Right, like,
Yeah, this is 25, 26, so that's what I'm anticipating.
right. Right, but 23, 24, we spent 19,000.
Right.
24, 25, we budgeted 11,000.
And right now we spent 8750.
Right, so are you anticipating that we're gonna spend another 20,000 this year probably?
I would say yes.
Okay. And then I just had another question, the year-to-date, is that through December 31st?
December 27th.
Okay,
Because of the holidays, she closed it the Friday before.
So the headings that I have, Roger, are the approved budget. This is for 24, 25. Then year-to-date, which I assume is July 1st to, like you just said, to the end of December. And then I have approved budget, but I guess that is supposed to be proposed budget?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
25, 26 is
And
the
that's the fiscal year,
correct.
7/1/25 to 6/30/26.
See, when I try to delete prior years to make everything fit, sometimes I'm mistaking some of the wording out of the headers. I'm sorry.
So right now, we're looking to approve a budget of $195,164 for administrative, is that correct?
Correct.
Question.
Yes.
One.
So, where is the accountability for the benefits insurance for the new town manager or any of these salaried people? I thought we were gonna build that into the budget this year so we could see the actual cost of each department.
You're right, I did that. I will have those forms for you.
So,
Because-
do you know offhand what it's gonna cost for the town manager's benefits and insurance?
Roger, don't we do that on a different sheet?
Yes,
for
we did.
benefits?
We did. I did that. That's over at the office.
But we're not looking to approve that tonight, that's not on your list.
The benefits actually go into a different, it's a different one, but I know what you mean, Don. It's the form that I showed you at the town manager committee meeting. I do have that.
Because it's hard for us as this committee, or hard for anyone who's listening or watching, to know what the actual cost is of a department. I mean, the departments come and they present their budgets, but never in those budgets are there the cost of their benefits and their insurances and things, and it comes as a separate line item. It doesn't reflect what they actually cost the town. Those are my concerns.
Correct.
Not that it's gonna
And
make any difference in the approval, it's just the fact that it actually puts it in the right place.
in those other budgets, when we talk about it, this was the only one that would have a benefit in it that I forgot to bring over tonight. The other one says I do them, I will be doing those sheets for you.
Okay.
And then the inverse of that would be also the wages that you're gonna be reducing does not reflect the fact that you're reducing the burden of all the insurances as well. So it does tie in, when you do give us that sheet that shows us all the benefits, it does all present as an expense. It's just that, like Don was saying, it's very hard to tell where it is because you can't match it up to the wages of individuals or to the, in this case, the town manager. But it all does come out in the wash.
Correct. But
Yeah,
at the next meeting, I will have that for you. And if I produce other budgets that would have that, I will have those for you.
I'm looking for a motion to accept or reject. I'm looking for a motion first to accept or reject this proposal for the administrative budget. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the administration budget.
And do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. Discussion?
I just had a quick question
Go
related
ahead.
to the
Sure.
main paid family leave tax. Will that be on that additional sheet budgeted in your like insurance budget? Is that where you budget for like
I
FICA
will have
and
to
all that?
add another line to what you're asking for. And
Okay.
that would be that 1%.
Is that where you would budget for that tax though? Like, or is it, it's not included in the wages here?
No, that's
No,
gonna
okay.
fall under your others like Social Security, workers' comp. It falls under that budget,
Right, okay,
the 1,300.
yep, okay.
I believe it's a 13.
Seconded that motion.
Yes, it was
Me.
seconded by Janet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, the way we're looking at this is that the last year's budget was 175,672. This year, the budget is 195, 164. The motion is to approve the 195, 164. All in favor? Passes. Thank you. We can move on to the next one. The next item is for broadcasting. Roger, if you can give us an outline of that budget?
Yeah, it's basically no change.
We'll change.
It'll go 9,500 for the next ensuing year. And it's the same as this year's budget.
Anybody looking for clarification on that, or are we all set? Okay, there doesn't seem to be any further clarification needed. Do I have a motion to approve or reject?
Move to approve.
Second.
Shelley seconds. All those in favor of the broadcasting budget for 9,500, say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Next budget item, Town of Hollis Assessor's Budget. Roger, maybe you can go through this budget and also explain your notes 1 through 4.
Basically, the budget that I'm asking for is 108,800. Basically, we have hired a new assessing firm, and they've been doing a great job on catching things and bringing the town where it needs to be. As we start moving forward, we're looking at the 26-27 season, just to bring you up on doing a new reevaluation. Now, I know back we had a reevaluation that was supposed to happen. Part of it happened, but it never got finished. And the remaining money got turned back into the general fund. On this, basically, the changes continued. I upped outside services because the amount of work that they are doing, I've gone up $2,000 there to $50,000. The other part is tax maps. They are bringing all our tax maps up to up to where they need to be, and then they are going to give them to GAI, and they'll be able to put them on our website, so everybody will have better updated mapping. So there's a couple of the increases there. Main contracts are staying the same. Most of the rest of the budget is staying the same. So it's basically the added work that we are going to be doing on the tax maps and getting ready for the audit.
I have, my question is, with last year, we approved 93,800. This year, we're looking to approve 108,800. When does this end? Does at some point, is there gonna be a point where we no longer need these services? Or does this go on forever?
Well, currently, the select board are your assessors, myself and Mary. Neither one of us are certified assessors. So my opinion on this is that by having O'Donnell Associates doing our assessing, we're getting quality work. And they also do assessing for a number of the area towns here in York County.
So this is done every year?
Yes.
Could you explain the notes, because I don't know how to apply them. They're notes 1 through 4.
Yeah,
but-
I didn't take the notes off, which I should have.
Oh, okay.
When you make notes like that, could you put the number beside the line item that it refers to, so it's easy for us to follow that?
Right.
Like note 1 would refer to line such and such, put it beside that line, okay. Just, it would help to be able to decipher that.
But in this case,
In
the notes are relevant because they don't, you just didn't take them off from last time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I should have said that when I started. But as we get going and we get past this next cycle with O'Donnell, I am looking at that wage area there dropping.
Then it's really maintained.
Actually,
Rather than, we really needed to start from 0, is that correct? And going forward, hopefully it's more of a maintenance than it is doing the whole town. Anybody else have any other questions?
I have a couple of questions. My questions, I guess, are related to your year-to-date expended. So, and maybe I just don't understand how this works, but we've only spent $6,000 so far.
yeah.
So is the bulk of the work in the spring, or?
No, we just got a bill. We just got a bill for $40,000,
Okay.
which won't show until the end of the month.
And then, so can you talk to me a little bit about, like, what are the wages for, and what is the outside service is?
Right now we have, okay, outside services are O'Donnell and Associates. Those are the assessing firm that we hired.
Right, okay.
So that is what that is.
Mhm.
That's why I'm saying these wages, that line there, I can basically cut that.
Should you move it down into the outside services?
No, actually, we have employees inside the town hall that do work. Because when O'Donnell does stuff, we still have to file it. So we have
Okay,
2 secretaries that work
for this
in the
department.
assessing.
Okay.
Yes.
That was what okay.
And I left it in there because at some point, we may want to hire another assessor.
Are they like, because we haven't expended much on wages for them this year either, so are they just,
And that's why I'm saying, I can cut that line item if you want me to.
oh, I'm not, I'm just trying to understand what it is. Like,
It's-
or are they full-time, are they part-time? Do you call them in when you need them? Are
You
they?
have a person that works in the code office that works X number of hours a week, and we also have another person that works in Martha's office.
So you
that
allocate
works.
their wages here when they do work for this?
Correct.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
And then I split my hours between general assistance, assessing, and the select board. So occasionally I will put like 2-3 hours, maybe if I'm doing a major project with the O'Donnells. We're trying to get the tree growth, the open space, and the farmland straightened out because nobody's done anything with it for years. So right now we're working on the tree growth, which is like 147 parcels. So I've been spending a lot of time doing that. So that part of my salary comes out of assessing.
Okay.
Can I
So
make
there's a number of things.
can I make a comment?
Go ahead.
This totals up to 98.8, not 108.8,
That could
because
be
you only have two
98?
You only have
Alright.
2 increases that total 5,000. So from 93.8
Yep.
plus the 5 is 98.8. So the budget's only going up 5.
Yes. Well, I could have made a mistake.
That's okay.
Um,
Something wasn't
I've
making
been-
sense last night.
I've been looking at numbers for the last 2 weeks.
No, no problem.
So, there is, we're not, when I started looking at that, I'm going, wait a minute. I was gonna add it up again because I noticed that I did make a mistake.
So it seems to me like you should probably go back and review this
Yep.
assessor's budget. I think that it might make sense for us to table this one and let you go back and have a better look at it. All those in favor of tabling the Hollis assessor budget? Can I get a-
Super
can I get a-
motion?
can I get a motion?
I make a motion to table the assessor's budget till next meeting.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor? So we'll hold that out for next time around.
That's fine.
Okay, the next item on the list, the Salmon Falls Library. Roger, you want to give us a rundown on that?
Basically, it's gone down. Prior year 39,822, 25,26, 38,615. So we cut some of the things like books and acquisitions, a couple $1,000. And that's basically where the difference came in, was cutting the books and acquisitions, and then with the 3%, that's the difference.
Is the balance of that 45,000 somewhere on this budget?
It's on page 2, and it's under capital expenditures under
Oh, I see
0119.
it. Yes, okay.
And then you'll see the $5,201 we spent on the heat.
But I don't see it under the 25-26 year.
No,
I see it in the
that- you won't-
24-25.
You won't see that on 25-26 unless we don't spend the money. That would go into a carry forward.
So that'll go into that 45, roughly 45,000 will go into a carry
Well,
forward?
unless we spend it between now and June.
Okay. So that won't get swept, right? I mean, that will still be allocated or remain in the budget for the library,
Correct.
even though it's in the carry forward?
Yes, because it's assigned under article for a specific expenditure. So until we spend that money, it stays there.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the Salmon Falls Library budget for $38,615?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, anybody second?
Second.
All those in favor to approve the Salmon Falls Library budget for the $38,615, say aye. Okay, that is done. We did the Hollis Center Library. General assistance is the next budget item.
Okay. We've gone from 126,690 to 127,640. And basically the difference is the wages. The remaining stays the same. And it's still the 75% that we get back from the state that we spend.
What line is that on? Oh, I see it on line 6. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'd have to update that for you on the next meeting. I can update with the actual 24, 25. Mary does her billing and she gets the sheets every month from the state for general assistance.
So I don't really understand
So
if
basically, we spent out currently 44,966, and out of that, we get 75% of that back. 70%, I'm sorry.
So out of that, we spent $40,418.38 on residents. And the state reimbursement will be $28,292.87. And the 30% that we've spent is $12,125.51. The other expenses are $7,236, which are wages, the phone, postage, things like that. Training workshops, dues and memberships, supplies, stuff like that. So,
how is it reflected, the 70% reimbursement?
it's not because he's using it now as a anticipated, he's putting it on the anticipated revenues now, so it's not reflected on the sheet itself.
So when if we approve the 127,640, what is it really costing us? For 38,000?
Well, so far this year, so for half a year, it's cost us $19,361.
So in reality, is the town's portion of 127,640 30%, which
Well,
would be
it's-
$38,000?
You probably have other expenses for, what we did with the wages was I asked him to put in 5 hours a week, because that's what it generally takes, is about 5 hours a week. Because if we have a town manager, he's probably going to want to hire somebody to do GA. So that's the wage in there.
I find this sheet kind of confusing.
Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
So why don't we just table it and we'll make it less confusing?
I'd appreciate that. Can I have a motion to table this one as well?
I make a motion to table the
The
GA
general
budget.
budget.
understand it because I do it.
Yeah,
I'll second.
I don't
okay. All in favor of tabling this for another meeting? All say aye, aye.
So
Table this one as
basically,
well.
on that, I figured it on before, these numbers in prior years, they were just numbers because general assistance is one of those that you can overspend. There's only two, snow and general assistance. So I was trying to bring the numbers a little bit closer to what we actually spend on it. But I can see your point about putting the reimbursement piece, but that comes under the anticipated revenues. What do we expect to get back?
Yeah, I don't care how you get to the number you're comfortable with, as long as we could follow the mechanics of it, how you actually got there would be helpful.
Okay.
The next item is the comprehensive plan budget.
Correct.
Roger, if you just give us a quick overview.
Last year, 24-25, I actually didn't put any in, and then Don made a motion last year to put $1,500 in, and we're almost at the completed product of the comprehensive plan. This is some of the things that I went down and I met with Southern Maine was all the billing that we had. So they figured they've got a few more hours, about 10 more hours or 10 to 15 hours left on the comprehensive plan, just to finish the nuts and bolts of all the information that we have sent them in the last month and a half. So I added $2,000 in, well, I added $500 more, just in case in the future there was other things that we needed to amend the comprehensive plan. We had money to do it. And so that's why I extended it to the $2,000.
Do we have any questions for Roger on this one? Don, do you have a question?
What was the appropriation in your note on the bottom, number one, 8,000
Yeah.
voted in 22?
That, again,
And the town
Don,
clerk's, the wording was not correctly, so
On
you couldn't
these-
appropriate the money.
on these, I've been trying to, I'm not the best at the computer. So, that was,
I can answer that, because
I wasn't here on that
Yep.
vote.
So in 2022, Bennett was out, and I had to do the warrant by myself, and apparently I didn't word the warrant right. So the town approved the 8,000, but I hadn't put something about appropriate and expend. So then we couldn't use that money, so we had to vote on it in 2023 again.
Okay, thank you for that.
But that was all me.
Thank you.
Well, that was back in 2022.
Yeah,
That was a few years ago.
Another one,
I think we can take that note off.
yeah, and this is what I'm saying, I was,
Okay. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion to approve this comprehensive plan budget?
I make a motion to approve the comprehensive budget.
In the second,
I'll second.
Shelley? Okay. The motion for the comprehensive plan budget of $2,000. All those in favor?
All right,
Passes. Thank you. The next one on the list is the
street light.
budget for streetlights.
Yep, that should be 2,000. Basically, no change, 16,000 for the next ensuing budget cycle.
Any questions?
move to
Make a motion.
approve.
Oh, I'll second.
Okay, second, and no discussion. All those in favor?
All right,
Aye. Budget passes. The next is the Hollis Finance Committee. I guess this will be an easy one. You want to explain what's going on, Roger?
Basically, the only change is the increase in the salaries. So
And
we're going from $1,810 to $1,900.
Okay, so we got like a $90 increase from last year.
Right.
Anybody have any questions here? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the finance committee budget.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor of approving the Finance Committee budget for $1,900?
Aye.
Yeah, aye.
The Board of Appeals budget.
That's basically staying the same.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
second.
Second. All in favor of approving the Appeals Board budget for $1,500, say aye.
All right,
Aye.
Veterans Flag budget.
All right. Last year it was $900, and come to find out, the cost of flags have gone up quite a bit. So I actually spent $1,131.62. Hence, that's why I've gone from $900 to $1,200
Okay.
to cover the cost of the flags for the veterans.
Do I have a motion to accept the flag budget for $1,200?
so moved.
Second.
All in favor? The budget for $1,200 for flags passes. The Hollis clothing closet budget. Clothing closet, yeah.
Basically, there's no increase. It's $500, and it's for miscellaneous expenses that they share with the fire department down at District 1. They do have money in their budget that they carry forward, and it's going to be about $12,000, but it's a protected account that gets carried forward every year.
I'll make a motion to approve Hollis clothing closet budget.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the Hollis Clothing Closet budget for $500? Aye?
Aye.
Passes. The Hollis Conservation Community budget for $600.
That's no change from the prior year.
Correct.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the Hollis Conservation Community budget for $600, say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Saco River Community TV budget.
Basically, they've gone up 0.5% on their budget. They give us a cover letter. Last year it was 10%. This year they've gone up to 10.5% of the $207,750 budget. So I figured basically $21,800.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the Saco River Television Community budget for $21,800?
Motion to approve Saco River Community Budget.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All in favor? Say aye. And that brings us to the end of the budgets, and we, public comment, we have nobody here from the public, so I guess we don't have any comments. Scheduling our next meeting. I think in the past, the last year, I think we were meeting at 6 o'clock.
Right.
Does anybody have a reason not to move the meetings ahead to either 6 or 6:30 instead of 7?
6 is good, I love 6.
Okay.
6 is fine.
Chief Shelley, is that hard for you, or? Can't we move those to? You cannot do it at 6?
No, on Monday. As long as it's not on Monday.
Oh, okay, all right, it's not on Monday, it's Tuesday. All right, so if I could have a motion to move the meeting to 6 o'clock rather than 7?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the meetings starting at our next Finance Committee meeting will be at 6 o'clock.
What's the date?
I don't know. I guess it depends on when Roger's ready to.
Okay.
Well, what I would be asking right now, the way we've covered quite a number of the budgets. I've got 19 left. I wrote 5 more today. So I'd be moving to have the next one on the 28th of January, which is in 2 weeks. And then we'll have the remainder of February to finish,
Okay, great.
Okay.
which would be our bigger budgets. The first meeting, we have the fire department budget, and then we'd have Parks and Rec, which would take 2 of those, or if you wanted, however you wish to handle it.
Okay, well, so we'll anticipate probably a 28th meeting. If it changes, you'll
Correct.
obviously let us know, but we'll send out notices anyway. That is the conclusion of this meeting. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
And on the 28th, I'd probably be looking at doing most of the administrative ones, tax collector, town clerk, treasurer, legal. I have highway.
That's good,
and-
Roger. Meeting's ended. Thank you.